This episode of The Republic is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV.
GameBreaker TV.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to The Republic, the Star Wars The Old Republic show, episode 128 for March 11th, 2013. I'm Gary again, and coming up today's show, got some Makeb info, news on 2.0, SWTOR has too many abilities, and the wizards at BioWare have made a massive technological breakthrough. All that and more, but first, Massive.com's Larry Everett. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and massive technological breakthrough. Huge.
Massively.
Nothing that you've ever seen in an MMO before.
Ever. And of course, Mr. Justin Lowe. How are you, sir?
Yep. Talking about technical leaps here. I got a cool app here on my Nexus 7.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Just a technological breakthrough.
What app is that?
It's the Sweet Brown app. It's a
Do I have to get a Nexus?
yeah, anyway.
So do I have to get a Nexus just for that app? I can't get that on iPad.
Yeah,
all right, let's
see, there you go.
talk some Makeb, Mike B.
Mike B.
Yeah. He's not here.
He's not here.
Should we drink every time we say that?
And it's a light week for SWTOR news, so I don't know. You guys just go at it.
It is like week, but you know, I've spent some time studying, and I know that Justin had to have studied the operative stuff that 2.0 is offering, and I studied obviously the Marauder stuff, and I'm both excited and disappointed at the same time. Number one, I mean,
all right, let's start with the excitement. Let's start with the excitement.
The excitement stuff. The whole accommodation system is absolutely incredible. How they have that all set up on the PvE side. Because they've minimized it. It is really like, I think what were they down to 4 accommodations before they had like a bazillion for each planet. You know, we had all that, and I think that. They've done a pretty good job of scaling the armor itself, like as far as the stats and such are concerned, and it's really become one thing that I noticed. I don't know if they have this for the agent side, but one of the problems that I had as a Marauder is I always had to go with one set of armor. That was my set of armor, and in order for me to spec out my Marauder the way that I want to, I had to buy different pieces. So, for instance, I didn't want as much crit in my chest piece. I wanted to substitute that for the power stat. So I'd have to go buy boots in order to and switch out the mods for my PvE stuff. Now they have a challenger set and they have a weapon master set for their PvE stuff. For their PvE armor sets, and one of them is power based and one of them is crit based, and so therefore they got a little bit more variety as far as that's concerned. How are they doing on the operative side for that?
Well, I don't know. They have a new ability, Exfiltrate, which should bring some pretty interesting stuff to the way that PvP is played. You'd be able to like dodge and kind of move in a way that almost is reminiscent of another game called Guild Wars 2. You know, where you're able to like actively roll and do other stuff and kind of move around the battlefield in a way. You know, it's just basically that we now have the ability to have a gap closer. So that in a PvP sense, especially for something like an operative that you know, uses concealment. A lot of the times we don't really have a way to get back, you know, into the fray and get back on top of them as quickly as possible. The other classes have a lot of, you know, escape mechanisms to kind of get them away from operatives. So having just that extra little bit to kind of allow us to continue being on the target for a long period of time is something that is a big deal for us.
How does that work exactly? How does extricate work?
Well,
is it target based, or do you have a little reticle on the ground and go, and you warp to that reticle?
It's just an ability, and it'll go either left or right depending on where you're actually running. So you'll press it, and then you'll either roll or you'll go forward.
Oh, okay.
Back, based on which direction you're actually moving at the time. So it's really neat. It's not like anything else, I think, in SWTOR. So for that, it's really actually quite neat. Definitely something that I think a lot of operatives that are looking forward to the new changes are going to want to see how this ability plays out in both PvP and also PvE.
How does that? Okay, and how fast do you move? I assume it's like it's nearly instant. So probably less than a second. You are how many meters ahead?
It's pretty.
Where you are.
Yeah, I don't really know about the exact meters. Actually, 12 it looks like. So it's about around that 10 range. 12. It looks like it's the exact number there. But you can actually use it as well very quickly. So they don't really say a cooldown here. And I'm not really sure if they're really set on it because it seemed a little fast on the PTS. I think it was like 10 or 15 seconds of the maximum to kind of use constantly. So it's really quite interesting from that end, just how well you'll be able to, or how many times you'll actually be able to use it and kind of move around the battlefield, not only for gap closing, but also just from the end of, hey, you need some extra movement on the battlefield. What does this end up meaning for, getting the Huttball quickest? Does it mean that, operatives will have a better reason for existing in certain, matches like Huttball and other places, right. And, also for defending, nodes across the map, it really will give them an extra bit of speed on top of that. At least equalize them on the playing field of the other classes that have stuff like, the sprint, force sprint, and other things like that. So maybe hopefully it will, balance that stuff out and give operatives a little bit of extra, budge room to kind of make that distance a little bit less of a problem.
I'm interested to find out if how that works around traps and things along that line. Are you going to be able to roll through traps? Because right now you can, as an assassin, you can pop a cooldown, run right through the fire without it hurting you or barely hurting you. And I'm wondering if you're going to run into a similar situation with the operative, especially considering that operatives also, although they're kind of weak, they do have heals on them as well. They can pop a heal or run through the fire, pop a heal, and it's almost as if they didn't run through the fire at all. So
you can roll through it. Yeah,
the chat room saying you can roll through it, but I'm just wondering how much it's going to hurt them to roll through it. Are they going to take full damage, or is this just going to be a way to eliminate the damage of those kinds of traps?
I'm pretty sure it's none. I could be incorrect about that. I'm pretty sure that it's none because the engine can't calculate what that distance of running through it. It actually is just kind of like a warp where you're just waiting for that time to end, if I remember correctly. But I could be wrong about that. And maybe that's something that BioWare re-examines. They take no damage is what chat's saying as well. So they take no damage. So it's kind of it's definitely like jugs leaping and all that stuff. Because of the way that the client is and the game's actually designed, you can't really calculate for that stuff. Right. So you just kind of have to kind of live with it, I guess. So
I know it's speaking of abilities, because I play Marauder a lot, and in fact that's my main class. I play that in both PvE and PvP and roleplay for those that are interested. And one of the things that is being added to actually, as far as the Marauder is concerned, is one of the few that's only getting one ability. Certain other classes are getting 2 new abilities. Marauders are getting 1, but to be perfectly honest, I think they only need 1 more ability. They already have a bazillion that are used all the time, and that's the twin saber throw on the Sentinel side, and it's double saber throw on the Marauder side, and it is incredible. Actually, it is it's a 30-meter toss. You basically take your 2 sabers, throw them in a straight line over your head, and you hit everything in front of you for 30 meters. And I have found with my little bit of play on the open test server that the Marauder is more of an AoE class because of this ability, or can be an AoE class because of this ability. It really, I love it. I think it's great, and I think everybody should have the double saber throw on each one of their characters. But but I found it to be an AoE. Have you had any experience with it, or what are your thoughts on just adding a 30-meter toss? I mean, it hits. No, I'll tell you this. It hits for just about the same as. It's not quite the same as like Annihilate, which is their top ability. It's not quite the same as that. It's just underneath that. So you're talking approximately 2,500 to 3,000 per hit, and it'll hit everybody.
Yeah, no, it's interesting from that and just the kind of range that they have. Because until now, it's been like an issue that they really haven't had much range. In fact, it also decreases the affected targets that it hits by 50% for 6 seconds as well. So you're effectively slowing a lot of the targets within its path. So from that, and it can be pretty crucial, especially for Marauder to get up there very early in the game, especially on maps like Huttball when you're talking about PvP, where you maybe want to get a lot of people and slow them down, or maybe even play defensively from the aspect of slow down the enemies from actually hitting the ball carrier. I think abilities like that one and also the Operative one will change a lot of the way that we think about PvP going forward, and it's definitely one of those things that I don't really know how it's going to actually shake out in the game once it comes out, because we won't know until it actually is completely on the public test server, or on the public
live
server, live server. Sorry, public test server and live server. Yeah, it's just it's going to be an interesting time for class balance. I think maybe they may have to do some early kind of class balance changes to kind of see how this goes.
Do you think we're gonna now? Do you think players like myself? I'm really play the Marauders. What I play, that's what that's my class. Am I going to, because of these abilities? I mean, for instance, they're talking about in chat room. They're talking about the saber reflect that Juggernauts have now, and things like that, and the force walk. That's not phase walk that assassins have. Are we going to have to how different do you think it's going to be to play the game after 2.0? Do we think are we going to have to rethink what we're doing, or are we talking just it's a little bitty change? Most of it's going to be the same. What have you seen so far? What do you think?
The kind of rotations, like the ability rotations that you normally use, are not going to change very much. However, the stuff that you do as a bonus or as an extra, just sort of that those few abilities, maybe on like a how you adjust to other classes standpoint, like how they actually work, and kind of thinking about like how you approach a fight on an Operative, or even other classes might change, but the rotations are going to stay the same. I would have to imagine that they would, but at the same time, they'll give you something extra to kind of throw in there as an initiator, or maybe even just as a defensive measure, like on the Operative, or offensive depending on how it's actually used. So it'll change some of those, and some of the small details, I think, of it. But ultimately, a lot of the rotations and how you approach the battle might stay the same, or at least somewhat the same. So we'll have to see how it goes.
I definitely agree that it's making certain classes more viable in specific PvP situations that they hadn't been before.
Yeah, Operatives were awful in Huttball.
That's right. Exactly. And and the thing is, and so were
healer.
So were Marauders. Marauders were okay. I wouldn't say that they were awful. In fact, I don't think any class was completely awful in Huttball. But the thing is, but there was I always felt that there was a place for everybody in Huttball, but certain classes could do certain things a lot better than other classes. And I mean, for instance, I mean, as far as damage was concerned, I know that Pyrotech used to can out damage a Marauder almost all the time, really, and then even Smash Spec Jugs could out damage Marauders. However, now with both Saber Throw, and then if you combine that with the changes that they made to Rage Spec, you're actually a very viable AOE damager now. So if you want to go that direction with your Marauder, you can do it. Or even like you said, there's a slow now with the Saber Throw, so you're able to at least have some sort of crowd control, at least on a limited basis, with the Marauder that you never had before. So I'm glad of a lot of the changes, especially in these classes like the Operative, like the Marauder, that weren't as viable in certain situations. They've now made them more viable, and they haven't changed. And what's really cool that I've noticed is that they have added really cool abilities to like the Sword class and to the Assassins, who were already viable and in most PvP situations, and they've added really cool abilities. They haven't taken any of them away, but they brought the others to that level pretty well, I think. I mean, what's your thoughts? You think they've done it?
Yeah, hopefully they have. I mean, the Marauders, I would have to disagree that they were bad, or by any means.
I don't think that they were bad. I just think that there was classes that were more that could do what they did better. Is really what it boiled down to.
Well, but all that matters is just getting in the end zone, and
I know
what's better than just jumping across the map. So
exactly. What could Marauders do? I mean, unless there was an enemy over there for them to jump to, there wasn't really anything for them to do. They had no survivability, so they weren't really a ball carrier.
Yeah. I would say Jugs kind of ruled the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Jugs were that was kind of like home turf for Huttball for them. So yeah. We'll see what happens with it. A lot of stuff.
Yes, they had. I'll answer the chat room real quick. Yes, they had Perdition, yes. But you could only do it with a full stack of 30 Fury, and that didn't happen very often unless you used your I forget the name of the ability. It's slipping on me. But unless you used that and did an automatic stack, but that only happened once every 3 minutes, I think. Was a cooldown on that, so yeah. Anyway,
so you mentioned some things that you said that there was a few things that also make you kind of sad. Sad face. What are those?
I'm the biggest thing that I'm sad about. And this is also again back to PvP. The biggest thing that I'm sad about is what?
You're sad about Pummel Strike, right?
Yeah. Pummel Strike. Oh yeah. No, I'm not sad about that. Is the gear progression. You're now having. I feel kind of sorry for those guys that are coming back into into the game for PvP, or to go back into challenging whatever arena PvP, because obviously you're not getting open world PvP anymore. Thank you, Makeb, or thank you, Elam. Anyway, is because the disparity between the gear is now back to as if you had recruit gear, even if you got full elite war hero gear. If you are stacked right now, if you are fully stacked and with the best gear you possibly can in TOR right now, once 2.0 hits, you have the equivalent to recruit gear. In my opinion, from what I've seen, it's the equivalent to having recruit gear, because Partisan and Conqueror gear, Partisan, I think that's right, totally outdoes Elite War Hero gear, and that annoys me. Annoys me to no end.
He's snickering at you. He's snickering at you.
No, I mean, I just this is kind of the kind of rotation that we go through with MMOs. We just go through this same thing over and over and over again. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. You can just adjust with it and move on.
No, I'm cool.
Like if I was hurt by that, like I would have stopped playing MMOs a lot longer
It's not that they have better gear, which I'm fine. I'm fine with them having a gear progression. The thing is, the disparity is okay. First off, they said no gear that we have is going to be more than 25% difference between the highest and the lowest, right? Yeah. Well, they've proven every single time with PvP that recruit gear is always going to be more than 25% difference between the highest and the lowest.
I think Justin's right. The thing is, in every MMO ever, this is always happens. Like I feel like every time there's an expansion, like there's a certain point. I think that they want it at some point, but then the numbers just start compounding out, and they're just like, this doesn't really work. Sorry.
I know.
I mean, remember? I mean, I'll go back to World of Warcraft. I mean, this made a lot of people just freak the F out at some point. You know, they just went crazy over stuff like this, and it doesn't make sense.
Do what's safe.
Yeah, but it's numbers. Sometimes it's just got to be what it is. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm fine. I'm fine with continuing the grind. I just wish that they would have been able to, in some fashion, kept their word for kept it to where at least whenever I go in with this gear that I have worked months for, literally, I mean, since 1.6 is when they did the major change with the Elite War Hero gear and such. That wasn't that long ago. And I don't know. I just feel that I wish I was a little bit viable with Elite War Hero gear stepping into the new War Hero
Get ready for the grind, my friend. Get ready to get some new gear.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you gotta do. All right, let's. So there's more patch notes on the PTS for 2.0. This is an interesting change. I don't know what you guys thought of this. I kind of think this is kind of a cool change. If you're in a guild, you're now going to receive 5% more experience.
Nice. Great change.
Yeah. Good change, right? I mean, I don't know. I wonder if it's going to actually push more solo players into being a little bit more social, finding a guild and kind of getting in there. Is there a minimum? I don't remember. Is there a minimum requirement of how many people have to be in a guild to start one? I hope so.
4. You have to be.
4.
Yeah, and the thing is, you have to be in a group together in order to start it.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's not like people are going to be. You could kind of game the system, but not really. It's not like you get like one of your buddies.
Well, the thing is, you have to be in a group together, so you can't have like you and 3 of your alts. They can't form a guild. You have to have 3, you and 3 other people. So yeah,
because they have to be online at the same time. Yeah.
Right.
You think it's enough incentive for a lot of players to jump in and get into a guild?
It's more of one.
Will they know about it? I wonder how they're going to communicate that actually to players. It almost seems like one of those things that they might actually want to like put it in game as a tooltip or something to actually let players know, like, hey, you could be gaining 5% more XP if you were a part of a guild. Because if you don't read the patch notes, you're probably going to miss that one. And I would imagine a lot of people who are not in guilds. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of solo players out there who do read patch notes, but I tend to think that most people don't read patch notes anyway across the board.
And before they make you pay for guild access.
Oh, here you're going to go there. I thought you were going to say they're going to charge you for patch notes. Imagine that. Imagine that.
Oh my gosh. They'd have to make better patch notes if they're going to charge for them.
Reverse engineering. Reverse engineering will no longer provide exotic crafting materials. What's going on here? Why this change?
I'm not exactly sure about this change. This little change kind of confuses me a little bit because I don't know. I just because it doesn't. I mean, here's the thing. It takes, in order to create that piece of material, it takes exotic crafting gears or materials in order to make it. So why? And reverse engineering is supposed to take the parts that it makes make that item and pull them out. And
I wonder if there's you think there's some kind of an exploit going on here with reverse engineering of people. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe chat room can tell us because I'm not really sure what it is, but maybe there's like some weird kind of crazy thing that people can do and pull out a bunch of exotic.
The only thing I can think of is they want people to get the exotic crafting materials through loot. Is the only thing I can think of, is that they just absolutely want people to run raids. They want people to do that sort of thing, and not, I don't know. I think it's silly. I think it's a silly change, but
do you think it hurts? I mean, it kind of sounds like it might hurt crafters if they really want you to run all that stuff. It's like, well, crafters kind of.
Let's all be honest here. What are crafters even crafting anymore?
Yeah,
you know, here's what crafters are crafting.
Troll, but
no, I mean you're right that crafting needs a big boost in this game. They need to rethink what they're doing with crafting. But there are people that are crafting high end materials. For instance, on my server, there is a bunch of people that have, and there's a thread actually on the forum that says, "We make this. This is how much it costs. This is what we'll do to give you this." So like for instance, hilts that are level 27. So you as a player that has never raided before can get a level 27 hilt, which is only available through raiding, by the way. You can get that by just because a crafter has crafted it now, and that's one of the things that it provides. But like it in general, it does need a boost because that can't be the only thing.
I have always felt. What's that?
Supplying ults. That's where it comes from. That's where they're making their money. Oh yeah.
What about? So I don't even know. What about this? What about adding? They're adding achievements for HK51. I guess that's good now that everybody's got them. Give you something to kind of do with them.
Yeah, one of the things that I think I think they're fixing this. I could be wrong, but one of the things that wasn't available with HK is he wasn't part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of stood there. And in fact, for most conversations, you didn't even get affection for him. You had to earn affection by giving him gifts and whatnot. And now, I believe I'm right when I say that
Isn't that
HK...
kind of weird right there?
It is very weird.
Because I mean, isn't that the whole point of HK51 was like, that's why you wanted him, is because of the conversation? So if he just kind of stands there and doesn't do anything, like, the hell
exactly.
Is he there for?
I think that is part of what they're fixing there, is he's now part of the conversation. He's now plays an active role.
All right. What about this? They removed an achievement for a mount that can't be obtained anymore. What is this? The Corellius Collector? Where was that from?
That's a 1.2.
You're getting rid of that?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, what that is? There was a on the station in the VIP section there. You were able to buy. There was another vendor up there that wasn't the collector's edition vendor. It was another vendor that was up in the VIP area that you could buy a mount for $1.5 million, maybe $2 million. I don't remember the exact number, but it was the Corellius Commander. I think it was that whatever Corellius, however you say that. It was the Commander. It was, and there are some people that have it. You can see them driving around fleet on it. And that is no longer available after 1.2. They pulled it, and I guess what they did is they fixed it so the achievement no longer requires that. I don't know.
All right, let's the next segment here. It's brought to you by Netflix. We're going to talk about abilities. You guys ready to talk about abilities? I heard SWTOR's got a few abilities. It's got a couple. But if you guys have not checked it out, what the heck are you waiting for? Get on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Seriously, use that URL. Go sign up today. What are you doing? It's a free 30-day trial. No questions asked. You just sign up. You get a free 30-day trial on the streaming service. You get to watch anything on Netflix free for 30 days. You put the app on your iPhone, your Xbox, your PS3, your iPad, your Wii, whatever you got. They got Roku. New Roku 3 is out, I think. I'm not really sure what they did with it, but it looks. I gotta check it out. But check it out. All you got to do is use the URL, netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Sign up today. Get free Netflix streaming for 30 days. Watch whatever you want for 30 days. If you like the service, keep it. It's like $8 a month after that. If you don't want to keep it, just cancel it anytime before the 30 days are up. You won't be charged a dime. So go check it out today, netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. So looks like the BioWare devs think that SWTOR may have too many abilities.
No.
Nah, dog.
Never. I wouldn't.
This is like.
I mean, come on. I need.
Why didn't you guys know about this? I rely on you guys to keep me informed on this show. Why? How come you guys never brought this up before? Why is the first time hearing about this?
It totally slipped our mind.
Seriously.
I know.
Don't make me break out the tape. I got it right here. I got it on hand.
Always keep the tape handy. All right. So the abilities that you could never use when the target was stunned are being removed. Anyone going to shed a tear? Sad.
I'm crying on the inside.
What about the community? Anybody? How the community dealing with their toys being taken away?
What? We had those abilities? Wow. No, I'm seriously. I mean, I don't think anybody is even the least bit upset that those abilities are gone because they're like, oh yes, finally that spot is free on my bar.
I know. We've been talking about this forever. I mean, this is a good move. BioWare, I think, needs to do a little bit more of this and kind of go through and take some more abilities away. Maybe combine a few of them. There's just so freaking many of them. Do you think the community would just hate that if they kind of went through and did a revamp?
No, well, yeah, I'm sure some people are gonna cry rivers and whatnot, but I think that generally speaking, that I think the abilities do need to. Okay, here's the thing: when I buy the G13 for the Logitech G13, which has a bazillion buttons on it, and that is not enough buttons to fit all my abilities,
there's a problem.
You have too many abilities.
Houston, we have a problem. The G13 can't handle your game. We have a problem.
I think it'll be all fine as long as they don't call it if they decide to revamp this whole thing. As long as they don't call it the new gameplay experience, I'll be fine. Or the combat upgrade, either one of those.
That could be pretty bad marketing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're gonna revamp the abilities. Let's call it the NGE. It's great. The new game experience. Players will love it. Nope, probably not. All right, over a year. BioWare have finally done it. It's been over a year. A year later, BioWare have finally done it. This technology is going to change. Yeah, this technology is going to change the face of the MMO industry forever.
Chat bubbles, right?
Sorry, Larry. No, sorry, Larry. It's not chat bubbles. Sorry. That technology apparently is not there yet. That is still in the works. Screw those role players. So BioWare have finally figured out ready check.
Oh, yes. Now we don't have to jump during raids.
Yep.
Okay, if you're here, everybody jump. Oh, Mike's jumping.
Oh, he's not ready.
He must be AFK.
Stand on that person if you're ready.
How badly have you guys wanted this?
It should have been in at the beginning. Let's get real. Or at least, update 1.1 or something like that. It should have really been one of the first ones that's in there. When people first started raiding, which was like a week after the game launched, it should have been in there. It really, really should have. I'm glad because, I mean, like I said, I am dead serious. When everybody jumps. Like my guild, that's what we do. To make sure that everybody's there, we say everybody jump.
Yeah. Everybody
Mine
jump.
just used to stand on each other.
At least it's coming.
A single person.
Hey, yeah. This is one of those things. I think we're all sort of like, this should have really been in the game. I'm amazed that this wasn't. I mean, this is such a standard thing that it's kind of amazing it's taken this long. But apparently, the update is slated to arrive in 1.7.3. But they've already said it may come later, so don't hold your breath. Either way,
in case it doesn't work. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about game design and that sort of thing, and I don't want to belittle the whole process that it takes to get stuff done in games, but really, a ready check, a ready check. You have to. That might not be ready. I mean, really, what's going to go wrong with it? This had better be the most fabulous ready check we have ever seen in an MMO.
Dude, ready check could become gun check. No, it really could. You never know.
Yeah. Maybe Yoda coming out and thrusting his hands in the air. Oh. Sparklers. Fireworks, guns, maybe blasters in the air.
Maybe. I don't know. All right, good quality of life. Big quality of life. Raiders are freaking out, screaming from the rooftops and happy. Last of this week, goodbye email. Hello display name. So it looks like on April 2nd, you'll no longer be able to use your email address to log in but you will be required to use your display name. I don't know why, but there's already a ton of talk about this on the forums. Are the community not happy? Like, what?
I think with what the community was upset about was not necessarily what they were doing, as much as how the who was it? I forget the name of the guy now off the top of my head. Wow, I'm horrible. I'm a great journalist. The way he responded to the community, he basically was sarcastic to the community, and the community didn't react to that very kindly. It was really
Who was it? Call him out. Who was it?
I don't remember his name. I really don't. Otherwise, I would. I seriously would.
Because now I'm dev tracker in it. I'll find it. Or maybe find it first.
Internet sleuthing. But this might be a good change in where they're going with this. I don't know. I'm wondering if they're going to go, they're pushing down the security. It's obviously for security reasons and things like that. I mean, Guild Wars 2 has even something kind of, I guess a bit steps further, where no one in Guild Wars 2 has the same password. So I think that can only help. This is probably one step closer to that. I can only imagine that that's why they're getting rid of this. Email, but I don't really know why people would be upset about this. Like, this isn't really a big deal.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't get it either. I think that I do think that going to the idea to the nobody has the same password thing, that might be that's absolutely crazy. It actually infuriates me on Guild Wars 2, having a couple of different accounts and trying to remember, okay, which account has which password. And so but no, I think that
Google Docs is your friend, sir.
I guess so.
But it's good, you know what? If
Google Docs. Somebody gets a Google account and has all your passwords. That sounds secure.
It's totally secure.
All right, a pen and a piece of paper next to your computer is a post-it note is your friend, sir.
A post-it note is your friend.
Yeah.
Because damn, I mean, if they made everybody have those passwords, if you've ever been hacked in your account and everything's stolen, you wouldn't think that everybody having individual passwords is such a bad idea.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I have different passwords for different things, but I am for specific games. Like, I'll have one password for that game if I have multiple accounts on it.
Larry 1234. That's what I'm sure it is. Justin Lou, follow him on the Twitter at Zirak. ZIRAK.
If I was ready, I would get the soundboard out, but I'm not.
All right, good. Larry Everett, follow up on the Twitter at ShadowSHADDOE. Go over to massive.com, read the Hyperspace Beacon. What are you writing about this week, bro?
I'm talking about armor. Let's talk about PvP and PvE armor in 2.0. Because there's a lot of changes.
About armor. Follow Larry on the Twitter right now.
Yeah, and my password for that is not, or at least won't be soon, Larry1234.
Soon.
Oh my gosh.
You can follow me on Twitter at Gary Gainer, follow Gamebreaker TV, Gamebreaker TV, and come over to the show. We do it live every Monday at 6 PST. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget about Netflix. If you guys, we still do accept donations. Go to Gamebreaker TV, scroll down to the bottom. You can donate. I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to tell you guys stuff. New forms are coming. We've been working all day. A lot of revamps going. First iteration of them will be won't be done with them, but I don't even know. They might be live. I don't even know when you watch this. I'm not sure yet, but they're coming. New forms for you guys. You guys need a new home. So check that out and keep an eye on the forums for this week. They'll definitely be up the next day or two. All right. Have a great week, and we'll see you tomorrow.